Hello, arcade gamers, and welcome back to Biggie D's Arcade. Today we're going to do my 36th Chill and Chat live on a Sunday evening like I do every week. So happy to be here. Going to check in with everyone who's in the chat, say hi to everybody, and then we'll get into what's on tap for tonight. We got a lot of good stuff to talk about. So let's say hi to everyone who's here. Gregory made it pretty earlier today. He left a really good comment in the chat for me. Super appreciate that, Gregory. He said, Biggie D has come a long way fast. I look forward to this show every Sunday night, and I really appreciate that. It really, I like to hear things like that because, you know, we got like multiple streams going on tonight, and some are overlapping. And, you know, I'm a fan of these other channels, but also have fans and people that watch me. So I have to be here every Sunday, and I like being here and ready to go and people waiting to watch. You know, that's the motivation for me to do this stuff. Is that, you know, I've created a channel that is in home arcade, but there's an audience that just wants to watch this. You know, maybe they don't want to watch what else is on. So that's really encouraging for me and really motivational for me moving forward. So I really appreciate that, Gregory. Carlo said, Oli's got the blitz. I avoided going, and looking Biggie D was tempting. I'm not going to lie. And we've got a lot of discussion on tap for Oli's and blitz tonight. I really kind of dug deep on some discussion that I wanted to prepare for tonight, and I think I've got something really good for us to talk about. So as far as Oli's, I'm definitely going to be discussing all that with you guys tonight because obviously I'm all about the deals. That's going to be a large focus on this channel, is us finding deals on home arcade products, and that's what we've been seeing from Oli's. Brent Metz, he was the one who won our first prize, the countercade. He chose NBA Jam because for whatever reason, the day that I was sending it out, Mortal Kombat 2 was completely sold out. So he ended up getting the NBA Jam countercade. I know he was going to mod it with the mystery encoder mod. So looking forward to hearing about that, but also really happy to see he joined and he is now a member of the channel. I am the lowest tier at 99 cents to join. And it's great. You guys get the emojis. You get the sign next to your name showing that you're a member. And then also I'll give you guys priority on the chats during the live streams. If I see a message from you guys and I see, you know, a bunch of them, I'm going to pick the members over anyone else whenever I can. Just to show, you know, that I appreciate your support and becoming a member. Jason, I don't know what's going on with your emoji or your, not emoji, I'm sorry, your avatar. For whatever reason, last week that got messed up, and now it's just showing like a broken link for your avatar. So I'm going to have to look into that this week and hopefully get that resolved by next week for you, because I don't like seeing your avatar missing like that. Papa Brad's Gaming, a member, he says, hello, gamers. Good to see you, Papa Brad. Glad you made it this evening. Atran Fanatic is here. He says, hey, people. Again, he's, you know, here every Sunday. Atran's a pretty regular viewer. I always expect to see him here when he can be. So always awesome to see him in the chat. AtGames Cadians is here. He says, good to see Biggie D. Talk some AtGames tonight. Yeah, so really, you know, we've got a lot of arcade one up, but I feel like the most exciting news and the most exciting product coming out is the AtGames 4KP. I mean, it's head and shoulders above anything else that's going to be released at any time in the near future. So I feel like going forward for the next few months at least, you know, a lot of our discussion is going to be AtGames, and I want to put some incentive on AtGames because I think they're doing really good. They're coming out with a really amazing product, and we're going to get into that tonight. And, you know, I watched a little of 19K Fox tonight. I noticed he doesn't do a whole lot of AtGames on his, you know, live streams. I know he doesn't really own any AtGames products. So maybe I can kind of fill that void for us on the Sunday evening, and we can discuss a lot of AtGames products here on this live stream. Let's see here. Who else we got? So Atran, like I said, is here. Cornercade, he made it as well. He says, let's go, guys. And I think Cornercade has a stream again tonight as well. So I'll definitely be tuning into that whenever I get an opportunity after I end here. But the Cornercade said, Biggie D, this is what I want you to make me. And he posted this chat when the countdown was going on. He wants me to help him with the countdown. He actually sent me a song he wants me to put in it. And when I get some time, I always want to help out other creators and do what I can. So I'll definitely be doing that and helping him whenever I get an opportunity. I've just been super busy. And I'll tell you, Corner Kid, it's not going to be a priority, but I will make you one just to help out. Soul Red is here. He says, it was my birthday yesterday. So congratulations. Happy birthday. I hope it was a really good birthday for you yesterday. And I hope you enjoyed that. And again, happy birthday to you, Soul Red. Let's see here. Oh, Octoman's Games. He sent in a $5 super chat helping out the cause. Thanks for everything. Octoman, I really appreciate the $5. That's going to go a long way towards what I'm going to be using this super chat money for. Really, any revenue on as far as the channel goes is going to go to one product starting out, and that's called our DJI mic. This is something I'm hoping I can get before Cleveland here in a few weeks. Even if I don't have the full amount from the revenue from the channel, but I'm close, I'll probably just go ahead and pull the trigger and buy it. It's pretty expensive. It's like $350 for the 2 mic setup on the DJI mic. But the $5 will go towards that. Any money that you guys super chat in, any money you guys donate, that all goes towards my first product that I'm going to purchase with that money, which is the DJI mic. And I do have a super chat video, and I improved the super chat video for this week. I kind of want to change this up each week, hopefully make them better each week until Cleveland. Just kind of incentivize everyone to super chat whenever you feel like you want to. But let's go ahead here and run that video. All right, guys. So that will be very helpful in getting those DJI mics before Cleveland here in just a few weeks. And I'm really excited because then I can do the interviews. I can get a lot more content, things for you guys to watch out there. Brent Metz is here. He made it on time before I really got into the discussion tonight. Good to see you. Andy's Game Room. Good evening, all. Good to see you, Andy. I did come across a video of yours, Andy, on YouTube that you had made, and I need to go back and watch that, but I did notice it. And if you guys haven't checked out Andy's Game Room, I did notice he's putting out some new videos, so go check those out if you get a chance. Cornercade, much love, buddy. I appreciate that. All right, guys, so let's get into the discussion here. Oh, I got one other chat I want to bring up here for Atreon. He says, thanks, Biggie D's Arcade. Appreciate it, man. I'm going to my former job early September, same second shift and same area. And the Z is running a little better with a metal flex fan. Awesome. So you got transportation now. Seems like you got your job back at your previous employer, and you're starting here very soon. Here in a few days, it'll be September. So you'll be back to work and making that money and getting that Z up and running and back up to speed the way you want it. All right, so let's get in here. So the very first discussion I'm going to get into tonight is going to be the NFL Blitz. So we haven't discussed NFL Blitz in a really long time. It's actually been, I think, 4 or 5 months since I've even brought up NFL Blitz because it's kind of been forgotten. But it came back up this week because there was a huge deal on this cabinet, and it was in an unlikely place also. And I learned all this information from Kevgret. So if you guys want to go check his channel out, Kevgret, it's Kevgret. He posted a really good video this week on this information. And I was happy to see that video do really well because it was really some solid information he gave us. And it gave everyone a heads up on where to shop, where to find this deal, and what's going on with it. Arcade Talk has made it as well. Arcade Talk, I did get your key for the Windjammers 2, which I think came from Carl O. Carl O actually provided those keys. But I went ahead and I activated that on my Steam last night, and I was playing Windjammers 2 on my AtGames Legends Ultimate. That game is incredible. I played the first Windjammers on a live stream Saturday using my CoinOps build. That game is good. But Windjammers 2 with the more modern graphics, same kind of gameplay is even better. I mean, it's an amazing game. I definitely suggest you guys going out and checking that game out. It's made by .emu, I think is how you pronounce it, but they do a lot of retro titles, but with more modern graphics. And terrific game, a lot of fun. I'll be playing that a lot. So let's get back on track here and let's talk Blitz. So like I said, I learned this from Kevgrat. And basically what the deal is you can now find NFL Blitz as well as some other arcade one-up cabinets at Ollie's. Ollie's is throughout the country. Unfortunately, I checked in Arizona. We don't have them here in Arizona, but it looks like they're all over the country. So you may have one close to you. I would check your zip code, see if you have one driving distance, because each store is different. Inventory varies at each store, but people are finding NFL Blitzes for $2.99. And then other arcade one-up cabinets as well for really good deals as well, like $200. So let's take a look at what I've been seeing. I'll share that with you guys here on the screen. And I want to first start with who is Ollie's, because I had never heard of them before until I saw Kevgrat's video. And basically what this is this is a bargain store. It's like kind of like a, what would I compare this to? I guess it's like a Dollar General, but more expensive items, I guess you could say. These are going to be like closeout items, things that retailers are trying to get rid of. They kind of offload them to Ollie's if they have a large inventory of stuff. And then Ollie's will then sell that stuff and kind of make a price where they make a little money on it, and but not much. And we still get a really good deal. Well, surprisingly, and I never would have saw this coming. I don't think anyone would have saw this coming, but you can walk into this store and find arcade one-up products now. And I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know, is this a good image for arcade one-up to be selling their products at a store like this? Does it kind of make us feel like the product is, not as great as we think it is because it's being sold at a store like this? I don't know. I think that's all up to us as an individual and how we think about this. But if I was like the owner of Arcade One Up personally, I wouldn't want to see my products at a store like this. That's just me personally. But, there's numbers and money that has to be made. And maybe this was like a last resort for them. It sounds like it was. We heard from Travis MCP. This was like a week or two ago. He had talked about NFL Blitz on the Corner Cage stream, and he had said that they had made about 20,000 NFL Blitz units, and they had really overthought this and made way too many NFL Blitz cabinets, and the demand just was not there for these. So there's probably a lot of inventory sitting in warehouses, and I don't know if this is retailers' warehouses or this is the Arcade One-Up warehouse, but there was just a lot of inventory that they just need to get rid of. And they kind of offloaded it to this retailer, Ollie's, to get rid of it. And let's kind of look at some of these deals here and what we would be expecting if we walked into this store. So this is 99 Lives Arcade on the original Arcade One-Up Facebook group. And he says, Blitz mods are coming. MK Legacy is at Ollie's too. And TMNT is on the way, they said. So I thought that was really interesting to hear that they're going to get their hands on TMNT cabinets. I believe that must be the Turtles in Time cabinet. If they have like leftover inventory at the Arcade One-Up warehouse, it sounds like they're going to send those as well to 99 Live. So there's pretty big selection right now that's either already in the store or about to be. So definitely check yours out. Let's look at some of these prices here and see what we would be looking at. So price on Blitz is $2.99 we've been seeing. That's half off. I think that's a pretty good deal. I did know Carl O is in the chat. He was a little interested in this price of $2.99. I told him, hold off a little bit longer. They've got a ton of these Blitzes out there. Even Ollie's is probably going to discount their already discounted product if they can't sell these. So I would give it, a couple weeks, make it as long as you can. Wait as long as you possibly can. Now, if you're shopping and you see they have one left, you may need to make that decision. But while there's a lot of inventory, I would just continue to wait because that's going to play into your hands and you're going to save even more money. I could see this going for $199 or $150 here in maybe just a couple of months. Let's see here what some are saying on this. JJ had brought up $2.99. Wow. That is a good price. It is half off. I mean, we're talking savings now. When we get into 50% or less, that's kind of where I start shopping. for an arcade one-up product. That's where my thought of buying it actually begins, is at the half off mark. So we are there, but I would still continue to hold and wait, because I think you could save even more money if you wanted one of these. Let's see here. JJ also said, hey bro, I always wondering why you have the 4Gs in your name. There must be a story behind it. So I've said this before on a stream early on, may have said it on Super Game Room Dudes when I was a guest on there the very first time. But that was all based on, I tried to put in Biggie D's Arcade with just 1G, and that name was already taken. And then I tried 2Gs, and that name was already taken. And I'm just not Biggie D's Arcade, but Biggie D. So then I kept going with it. And this was before I even created my YouTube channel. This was when I was creating just my YouTube account, like to actually get on YouTube. And so I then tried 3Gs. Still didn't work. Well, by the 4th G, that was available. Biggie D with 4Gs. And that was years ago, long before I created this channel. So I just stuck with it. Even when I created the channel, I decided I'm just going to stick with it. And I'm happy with it now. I like it. Stands out. And it really kind of goes with the name Biggie D's Arcade. So I like it. Let's see here. Atran saying, yep. Goal, like I said before, is to rebuild the engine and the Z by this fall or winter. So stoked to get it working. Going 280S comp cam with triple deuce Weber 40 DCE calibers. Carburetors. I'm sorry, carburetors. Yeah, I'm not a very, I'm not a work on a car kind of guy. So a lot of this stuff is going right over my head, what you're telling me, Atran. But I'm sure there's people in the chat that are recognizing and know what you're talking about there. Let's see here. Yeah, because see here, Octoman, he says best engine ever. He knows what's going on there. Brent Met says, I got the Blitz cab on last week's sale at Kohl's. After Kohl's cash, it was $360. Probably should have waited, but that's okay. There's supposedly 5,000 left. So I bet it will go down more. So yeah, you got a good deal, Brent, at $360. I mean, that's still a killer deal. Yes, you could have saved the $60, but at the end of the day, it's only $60. Let's see here. Carlo says, Atran, someone has a 240Z in my area with 350 horsepower for sale for $20,000. So you got some value there in that car. All right, so let's look here at some other prices. So this is another price I came across. Mortal Kombat 2 Legacy Edition, $299. This has no riser, no lip marquee. I don't think this is a good deal at all. I remember seeing these at Walmart for $199 just about 4 or 5 months ago. So this is definitely going to go down. It'd be nice to see these go to like 100. I would probably buy one at 100. And here's another deal here. Now, I didn't actually see the boxes, but they have the advertisement out already, so they must be getting these pretty soon. This is the Legacy Street Fighter with the lip marquee and the riser for $299. So this is a decent deal, but again, I think you can do better. I think you could get this one at $199, and that would probably be a buy. $199 would be a buy. You could mod this thing. It'd make a great cabinet for parts or modding or whatever you want to do with it. Or maybe you like the look of this cabinet. This is a pretty unique artwork. So that would be good. Now the downer with this one is there's no online. So that would be kind of my holdback from buying this. It would have to be an incredible deal without having the online. Like I would be a shopper or a buyer at 100 for this one. And if you guys are seeing these prices and you think these prices are a buy for you, let me know. Or are you going to wait it out, try to save a little bit more money before you head into all these to see what they got? You know, let me know. But that kind of brought up my discussion here for tonight. I had some, and I kind of had planned this. Surprisingly, I had started this discussion that I'm going to bring up next about a week and a half ago. And I was planning on making a video about this, but then the Ollie's news came out. And then I was like, all right, well, I just got to get this information out there. It's a really good time to do that. So I went ahead and did that today and prepared the slides for this live stream. So we're going to get like a video type content in a live stream tonight, which is really cool. So let's go ahead and bring that up. And you guys probably saw that in the thumbnail. So if you guys seen the thumbnail, that probably kind of gave away what we're going to be discussing. But let's look at this, guys. Octoman Games, he gave us a $5 super chat. That is awesome of you, Octomans. Like I said, that's going to be going towards this DJI cam, or I'm sorry, DJI mic that I'm going to be using here in Cleveland here in just a few weeks. So I super appreciate the super chat of $5. That's going to go a long way towards this DJI mic that I'm going to be getting. So let's run that video one more time. It's only 10 seconds, but it'll be good to run these during the super chats. Let's run it. All right. Thank you, Octoman's PCs, or Octoman's Games. And I'm sorry I said Octoman's PCs. For some reason, I think there's a PC store, maybe in Arizona, that's called Octoman's PCs, or maybe your username was that before. I'm not sure, but it's Octoman's Games. All right, guys. Andy's Game Room says, heck yeah, they were great. And Carl O gifted 5 memberships to Biggie D's Arcade. It looks like A-Train got a membership, Thor KC, C North, Chris C, and Alfred Berger all got memberships. That is awesome of you, Carl. Thank you for sending those out and gifting those to those 5 people, because I'm sure they appreciate that, and I do as well. And let's see here. Okay. All right. So I'm not crazy, guys. I'm not crazy. I may have sounded crazy for a second there. I was PC and changed it. All right, cool. All right, so back on to this NFL Blitz. So this is like some discussion that I had planned for a video. Let's go ahead and get into it here on the live stream. So where we were at here is right here. So my thumbnail said, you know, was Blitz a failure? Question mark, like asking a question to you guys. Do you feel like NFL Blitz was a failure for Arcade 1-Up? Or do you think it was a success? And if you think it was one or the other, tell me why. But I'm going to tell you why I think NFL Blitz was a failure and why it was a failure for Arcade 1-Up. I'm going to lay out 8 reasons why it was. So let's get into this. So the very first reason why Blitz was a failure for Arcade 1-Up was they made too many. Too many were made. We just went over, they made over 20,000 units of NFL Blitz. There's no reason for them to make that many until the demand is there. And they've learned that lesson. They learned it. We saw it with Time Crisis. They're only making about 3,000 of these. Once they see the demand is there, then they're going to make more. They didn't do that with Blitz. They made way too many of these. So that's the number one reason why this became a failure, is they just overproduced something that people didn't want or weren't willing to buy. So number 2 reason will be coming up here in just 1 second. Quality of the marquee. So if we've seen with the NFL Blitz, it is a decent marquee. It's not one of their worst, right? We've seen worse from them, but it is not even close to their best. And we've seen from Joe Sabo's marquees, many people are replacing this marquee. They were unhappy with it. And that's just more money you have to sink into a product that was already $600. So that's just, you know, more money people have to think about. They're like, if I really want Blitz the way I want it, I'm going to have to factor that into the cost. And then that's kind of like a make or break for people. You know, they don't want to spend the extra money to fix things that should have already been done originally. So marquee was the number 2 reason why this cabinet was not successful. Number 3 is going to be the unauthentic side art. So if you look at an original Blitz cabinet, you're going to see the actual player on the side that looks and appears just like it would in the video game. And that is authentic. That's what Arcade 1-Up does really well. I was surprised to see them deviate from that, because they do so well with the artwork. They do so well with recreating and making what they call an arcade accurate 3/4 scale version. And they didn't do that with this. They also did this with the Street Fighters last year as well, where they kind of went off and did their own thing. And I think that they've learned now that in order for us to buy and to be really hyped and really spend the, the hard-earned money on these products, we want an exact, exact as authentic as possible to the original arcade, or we want it as arcade accurate as possible. Because a lot of the reason that we buy these arcades are for the look. We don't necessarily always buy them for the gameplay or the amount of games that we get with the arcade. We buy them for the look because we like to see that game in that arcade cabinet in our home arcade, in our game rooms. So this number 3 reason, I think, was a big factor into why Blitz did not do very well. It had very unauthentic artwork. It also had, these actual players, real players on there, as opposed to having the video game players that we saw on the original. So number 4 reason why this did not do well is going to be the delayed online play. If you guys remember when this cabinet launched, it had no online. It was unplayable online, 100%. There was no way to play it. They had advertised it on the boxes, online ready and online play, and you'd open it up, you would assemble it, and it would say coming soon. It would have the menu system for the online, but it would say it was coming soon. It wasn't available. And then if you guys remember, even when they were able to develop the online play and get it ready, it wasn't on all 3 games. It was just on the first NFL Blitz. And then they had brought out NFL Blitz 99, and then they'd brought out NFL Blitz 2000. But this was over several months. It took a bunch of time. And I think that, played a big factor into why it was a failure and why people didn't want to buy it, is they don't want to buy something that is advertised as something that they're not getting. So number 5 reason why this was a failure was no late hits. And people made a big deal out of this. This was a big part of this game, of NFL Blitz, and what we remember of this game. When I played it in the arcade, I definitely, always thought of late hits. That was one of the biggest and most biggest things that I remember about this game, was the fact that I could hit the player after I tackled them, or after the player was tackled, I could hit them again. And that just made it more fun. It made it more, engaging and fun, and made me want to come back and play it some more. But you weren't getting that. You weren't getting that experience with this Blitz. So it was like a different game. And the number 6 reason why this was a failure is that it takes up a lot of space. So we do see some out there that, are hardcore fans of Arcade 1-Up, and a lot of people, like, I'll say, bad guy Mike Worley, for instance, he buys a lot of 4-player cabinets. I think most of his cabinets are 4-player cabinets, but that's not a representation, I think, of the customer in general. Most customers are going to try and conserve space when they can. They're going to have 4-player cabinets, but they're also going to appreciate those 2-player cabinets because they can, push those up against each other, and they can get more arcades in their game room. And when you have 4-player arcades, that takes up the space of 2 of them. So we see a lot of people, like with NBA Jam, that will take the 4-player deck and they'll customize it with the 2-player deck because they like the game, they like the look of the cabinet, but they don't necessarily like the space that it takes up. And that's kind of the same thing with the Blitz. It's a 4-player deck, it takes up all that room. Now, another complaint I've seen, even when you are able to get 4 people together to play on one of these 4-player decks, there's still really only room for 2 people because the screen is only so wide. So when you get people on your left for the first player and you get people on the right for the 4th player, and you got the 2 in the middle, those 2 on the outside just aren't getting a good view of that monitor or that screen. So it doesn't really fulfill what its purpose was, which was to allow 4 players to play at one time. It does give you a little extra space, though, for your hands and wrists. I do like that. Now, number 7 reason that this was a failure is there's not enough games. There are only 3 games on this, and they're essentially all the same game, just different years. You got Blitz, 99, and 2000. And yes, 2000 would be the best of the 3, but they're all very similar. And, you're not getting anything to change it up or do anything different with this cabinet. It's 100% Blitz. You have a dedicated cabinet in your game room that takes up a lot of room, and it only has NFL Blitz on it. So I think that was a big factor as well. And then the final reason I'm going to give you guys, number 8 that I had come up with, was the marketing spend. So this cabinet was done like no other cabinet before it and no other cabinet we've seen after it. The amount of money that they spent on marketing for this cabinet was like way more than anything we would have ever seen on any other cabinet. And I don't have to look at their financials to know that. I don't have to have inside information to know that. I can just look at their marketing. I can look at their advertising to see that. So let's take a look. So this is just a video here, short YouTube video of their NFL Blitz. Look who we see. Dan Marino, Chris Carter. These are NFL legends, NFL Hall of Fame football players. Deion Sanders. These guys don't work for free. They work for millions of dollars. These guys are as rich as they come. So they're going to demand big dollars for their faces, for their likenesses, for their opinions in these videos, to see them playing this cabinet. They spent a fortune on marketing. And they just kind of went all in. Like if you're playing a poker game, they went all in with Blitz. And they lost. They lost big time. And that's what, led to this. And that's what led to us seeing that cabinet for $299 at an Ollie's discount store. And so you can see what happened. This cabinet released about a year ago, right before the NFL season started. Or actually, right around this time, we're hitting about the 12-month mark this week that it officially released. So we're 1 year removed from its release, and look at where it's at now. It's sitting by a bunch of rugs in a discount store for half off. So that kind of just sets the picture and where we're at with this cabinet. And yes, companies make mistakes. What the important thing is that companies learn from their mistakes and they carry that forward on their future products. And they've learned, we can see that. It's evident by Time Crisis Deluxe. They're only making 3,000 of these. They're pulling back the reins. They're saying we cannot overproduce or mass produce these cabinets until we know that us customers are willing to buy them, or we think it's worth what they're willing to charge for these arcade cabinets. But it's great for the deals. If you guys are looking for a deal, it's great. But if you're looking for Arcade 1-Up to remain a company far into the future, it's not a good thing. Let's see what everyone here has to say about that. Because, I know a lot of people really enjoy their NFL Blitz cabinets. I know that some people, this may be their favorite cabinet. So they may not be happy with some of the things I said. Atran was saying, Andy's Game Room, you just got a sub. I'll check when I'll check what you got when I get a chance. Very cool. Yeah, go check out Andy. He's a big fan of these cabinets, and I like to see anyone out there who's trying and making videos, because it's just more stuff for us to enjoy. Octoman's Game says 100%. That's why I don't like those Rec Room Masters cabs. I love the artwork. I love the MK2 cab because of the Raiden side art. Yeah, we buy it because it looks like the real arcade. We didn't get that with NFL Blitz. We need to create no-fly t-shirts. Carlos Sanchez is here. Good to see you, Carlos Sanchez. And Carlos says, I am on that channel every Thursday with Carlos Game of the Week. And let's see here. Octoman's Game says, I got a T2, a Simpsons, a Ridge Racer, an MK2, a Street Fighter 2, a Pac-Man, and all the attention goes to Street Fighter. It's a great game. Get us to 500, A-Tran. All right, so let's get in here to some Time Crisis discussion, because we've been discussing Time Crisis now for like months now. We've just been, every week there's been Time Crisis news. Well, Time Crisis officially released on Tuesday, and we have just been overloaded with content and videos and live streams and seeing B-Kongs and Kongs Are Us. He's had his review unit for over a month, and we got his review out there now. So some of this stuff I may have pulled from Actually, no, I didn't. I actually didn't pull any video or anything from his review this week. Just kind of let that settle a little bit before I start really digging deep into the review of this thing. I really just kind of want to spend tonight talking about the price, because that's been kind of like a big topic of discussion this week, is the price of this cabinet. This was a listing I had made. Just this was an example. 100% an example I created last week to kind of give us an idea of what the listing would look like for Time Crisis when we had our live stream this week. Unfortunately, it did not end up at Best Buy, and it did not end up at a price of $599. I was pretty close on the release date. However, I think this is going to release at the end of October, not the beginning of October. If you guys remember my calendar I put out about a month and a half ago on Time Crisis, I had put on the calendar Time Crisis October. That is the official release date of the cabinet. So I was right on the money with that. No, but I was off on the price. I was off on the retailers that it would be going to. So let's take a look at where we can find this cabinet. So we can first find it on the Arcade1Up official website. It's coming in at a price of $750. I thought this was at the max, because I had speculated $799, because we had the GameFly leak of $799, and I kind of led with that and thought that for a long time, that we would be up to $800 on this cabinet. And then I had been on Michael B's live stream just about a week or so ago, and I had brought up $799 GameFly pricing to Michael B. Maybe this was live on air, or maybe this was a private discussion. I can't remember. But he had said, no, the $799 was international pricing. That, it would be about $699 would be our US price on that, if we were to do the exchange on that. So I was thinking then, okay, $699, that's max. That's our maximum price. Well, no way in heck it would go over $700. Impossible. Would never happen. And then they did the live stream on Tuesday, and we heard Cyrus say, everybody was holding their breath, and everybody got real quiet when the price came out. It was like, you could hear a pin drop. And he came with the price of $750. And everybody's jaw dropped when he said that. I could feel like the air leave the room when he said that. And that's been the topic of discussion ever since Tuesday. And, it's only $50, right? It's not a lot of money we're talking here. $50 is not that much money. You can't even buy a video game for $50. So why is it that big of a deal? It's the principle. This thing is not worth more than $699. They essentially just tacked on an extra $50 right before the release just to make a little extra money. They did this also with the Wheel of Fortune Casino-cade. They tacked on an extra $50 right before its release or the day of its release. So this is like a new business plan or a new way that they've structured their pricing that they're going to be doing. And I'm seeing a trend now. We've seen it with 2 cabinets in a row, where we can kind of gauge the price. We know what the price should be on these cabinets based on what we're getting. And we know that max, this is not worth more than $700. There's no way you can explain that this cabinet should be worth more, or we should pay more than $699. The only explanation for them charging $750 is to make an extra $50. There's nothing behind that money. There's nothing that we're getting for that money other than just handing them another $50. But what's great about, and I can't do the transitions, guys. I tried. I cannot do what K-Fox does, so I probably shouldn't even be trying. But hey, Carlos, I really appreciate the $5 super chat. He says, here you go, bro. $5 towards your channel. Every little bit counts. And it does. If you guys do feel the need to super chat, don't ever feel a need to super chat a certain amount, because every dollar, every cent helps, and it goes towards that ultimate goal of whatever I'm going to be working on, which I'll always be upfront with you guys on what I'm working on or what I'm going to be using these funds for, which we know this time it's going to be for the DJI mic, hopefully by Cleveland. So let's go ahead and run that channel. I appreciate the $5, Carlos. All right. So thank you, Carlos, for the $5. And so we're back here on Arcade1Up Official 750. I explained to you guys it's $50 over what it should be, over its maximum price of what it should have been. So what are we going to do as a community or as enthusiasts or fans? Are we going to run out? Are we going to pay the money that they're asking? Or are we going to kind of do this as a group or as a community and say, we're not going to spend the money? Because the only way we can prevent them from doing this in the future is to not spend the money, because they'll know they can't get away with it. They can't get away with charging us this extra money if we don't spend it. So I told you guys last week that I was going to buy Time Crisis no matter what. No matter what they came out with, I was going to pay for it. I've since changed my mind, and there's a number of reasons why I've changed my mind, but the number one reason why is this price. I just can't give in to this, and I'm seeing as a community, we're kind of all making that decision to not buy this cabinet right now at this price, and I want to be a part of that. I want to be a part of something really big. And we can do that by, just making that decision, this week or next week as a community, that we're not going to pay this. We're not going to let them do us dirty like this and just tack on extra money just to make it. They got to give us something in return. Now, maybe they can do some improvements, or maybe they can come out with some reasons why we should spend this money, but they haven't yet done that. So we'll reevaluate. I know I will, as more information comes down the pipeline and the closer to the release. Maybe they can convince me, but this is where I'm at today. I will not spend the money. So let's get in here as well on where we can find this thing. So we can find this only at Shop Hippo. This is a Shop Hippo exclusive. So they did 3,000 units and they sold those 3,000 units to Shop Hippo. Now we did hear that Shop Hippo sometimes will sell some of these units to other retailers in order to get the stuff out. So we may see it at Best Buy still. We may see it likely at Walmart. We've seen a lot of Shop Hippo inventory at Walmart in the past. So it could end up being at other stores, but for now, it's exclusive to Shop Hippo. It's the only place that you can pre-order, and it's showing it'll ship on October the 30th. Now, I had also said there's a couple other reasons why I'm not going to pay the $750, not just the price. There's a couple other things I don't like. I don't like the screen height. If you guys go back, I made a video this week. I did a really good video on all the new product releases for the end of 2023, the holiday lineup. If you guys want to get some really good info on what I'm telling you right now, just more detailed, go back and watch that video. But the screen size is too small. It's only 17 inches. The screen height is too low. It's lower than T2. It's lower than the new Big Buck Deluxe. I'm 6'3". This screen height's just not going to work for me. Now, maybe Buy Stuff Store will come out with a booster, and that'll get me back into, okay, it'll be tall enough for me now. But right now, the way it is with no booster from Buy Stuff, the screen height's too small for me, or it's too short. Screen's too small. And then also the guns. I was very, very disappointed in the quality of these guns. You guys want to go watch Kongs R Us's review? He did a really good job. He opened up the guns for us. We can see it's just a cheap little spring with some cheap plastic parts in there. And it's just a really crappy gun, just to be frank with you. And very disappointed. I thought the slide function, they really hyped up this slide function on these guns. We could hear the click, click, click whenever we got that leaked video. And I was really hopeful that these guns were going to be some quality guns. They were not. They were a very big disappointment. And I'd also said in the video what I would like to see Arcade1Up do, which they could still make this happen between now and October 30th. That's still a ways away. We're still, what is that? A couple months from now. So they still have time to make some fixes. One thing that they could do to really win over us as a community or as enthusiasts of Arcade1Up would be to allow us to use our own send-in light guns. Allow us to purchase our gun from send-in directly plug it into the Time Crisis and be compatible with the Arcade 1-Up Time Crisis. Now you're getting into that territory of your bring your own gun or bring your own game, kind of like AtGames does. And I know that they don't really want to do that. They've tried to shy away from that in the past. They've never opened up their arcades like that before, but I think that would really win people over. It would help with the sell of the cabinet. For instance, for me, I don't like the guns, but if I could bring my own, that would really be a big solution for me personally. So we'll see if they listen. We'll see if they give us some options here. Also, the T2 guns do work with the Time Crisis, but unfortunately the solenoid doesn't work. So that's another, if they could just fix that, get the solenoids working in the T2 guns, giving us the option to use those, I think that would be, maybe enough to win some people over and make them buy this. But it sounds like, from what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing, is people are holding off, they're waiting, they're interested. So they got us as customers where they want us, right? We're interested in their product. We want to buy their product, but we're holding off because of the price. So they got half of what they need. They got us interested. They just need to either fix the price or give us a reason to pay the price. Sell us, right? They need to sell us on this product. They haven't done that. They did a short 30-minute live stream. They utilized Mike B and B Kongs to get them through that 30-minute live stream, and they didn't really give us a reason to buy this thing. So they got a lot of work to do, but they got time to do it. They got almost 60 days to get this accomplished, and I hope that they do. Let's see here what some people have to say about this cabinet. And again, I apologize about your avatar, Jason. I'm going to work on that for next week, but I am happy I can get your chat up. It says, I really want a Mr. Do, a Q*bert, a Gauntlet, and a Robotron. I would really like to see the Q*bert. I'd really like to see the Gauntlet and Robotron. I tried playing Mr. Do on CoinOps, so I wasn't a really big fan of it. Maybe I need to give it some more time. I know Arcade Talk is in the chat, and that's like his favorite game. So I need to probably give it some more playtime, and maybe I'll get into it. Andy's Game Room says, I'm actually looking at some, but I'll be upgrading to the iPhone 15 Max, which uses the USB-C. Not sure if that will work with it yet. They work for Android, but this will obviously be different. So I'm not quite sure what he's discussing there on that. I just know that iPhones are super expensive. I use an Android. I have a Samsung Galaxy S21 is what I use for a lot of my video. If you guys see videos, that's what I record with. Carlos says, man, I love Time Crisis. I was so pumped to pre-order it, but when I heard the price, I had to step back. I will buy, but I will not buy for $750. And Carlos, I'm exactly where you're at. I was really pumped. I was pretty much sold on the product. Like I was going to pay whatever. And then the release was, it was like so just not there for me as far as like their release video, that 30-minute video. It just didn't really sell it for me. And then I'd watched some of B Kong's content and learned more about the cabinet. And then I got more and more sour on trying to overspend and spend $750. And I'm glad that, I reasoned with myself and I came to the conclusion that I wasn't going to spend it, because I think I would be kicking myself later if I did. And especially if they go down in price. They mass produce these later because they sold well, and we see them for $650 or $600, here around Black Friday or early next year. I'd be kicking myself for spending the full $750, especially if we can come together as a community or as Arcade 1-Up fans and just say, as a group or as a community, we're not going to spend the money. And, we kind of like force their hand to lower the price. That would be amazing if we could accomplish that. Galaga Guy 88 said, man, I'm having a ball tonight. So many good streams. Yeah, there's a lot of good content. I watched a lot of 19K Fox tonight. I normally watch the Rexer show, but he went live right before I did, so I'll have to go back and rewatch his stream. I'm fans just like you guys out there. I enjoy watching live streams and home arcade content just as much as everybody else in the chat. And sometimes I have to kind of, decide I'm not going to watch stuff so I can, make this content for us to watch tonight. But I'll go back. I'll rewatch a lot of the stuff I missed tonight. Atran says, yeah, as soon as I get my riser booster for my Arcade 1-Up riser for my seat mount, I'll probably get a video made for my channel. That'll be cool. I'll have to check that out whenever that comes through, Atran, or you'll have to let us know when you make that video. So next, guys, let's get into AtGames. So AtGames, I think, is probably the coolest product out there right now. It's like by far the most advanced home arcade product we've ever seen or could even imagine would ever be even getting made right now. This is like something within the home arcade budget. They're going to try to keep this thing under $1,500, I hear, but it's going to run these games in 4K. It's going to have massive screens on them. It's going to look and feel like a real pinball table. And then they're going to release a arcade right after that uses this same technology. So this is all really cool stuff. And I've been following Wagner's Tech Talk. I linked his channel last week. I'll link his channel again this week because he's got the one and only, they don't call it a review unit. It's like a prototype. It's a pre-production unit is what he refers to this as. And we're getting a lot of really good info out of Wagner's Tech Talk right now. Every day it seems like he's updating his webpage, his YouTube with new information for us to follow so we can get up to speed on what we're going to be buying or what we may be interested in when it comes to this 4K. Let's take a look here. Galaga Guy, really nice of you to send over a $4.99 super chat to Biggie D's Arcade. Really appreciate the $5. He said, glad we got the information and opinions to make an educated decision. Everyone should do this. Don't fall for the FOMO. You'll be happier. Yeah, I heard it tonight on K-Fox. He's kind of like leading this initiative to have everyone, let's not spend the money. Let's all make this decision together. And I'm all for it. I want to be right there with them. And I want to encourage everyone to do the same thing because it's just not fair. It's not fair what they're doing with the cost of this cabinet. Let's go ahead and run this. This $5 will go towards the DJI mic that I'll be using, hopefully, in Cleveland. Thank you, Galaga Guy 88 for the $4.99. And let's see here. Papa Brad's Gaming is in the house. He says, Dig Dug is better than Mr. Do. LOL. I do love Dig Dug. I haven't really played Mr. Do enough to tell you guys that I like the game yet. I've only played it once and I didn't really get a good feel for it that first time. Probably got to give it some more time. Pepper 2 is amazing, he also said. Got to check out Pepper 2. I've never played that game. Goofyfoot's here, member of the channel. He says, Qbert and Robotron are their only hope for sale in this household. So he's holding out and right now for a Qbert or Robotron, and those are the ones he's going to be buying. Soul Red says, anyone have any experience shopping from Buy Hippo or Shop Hippo before? Seems odd that they would make an exclusive to them. So their relationship, Arcade 1-Up's relationship with Shop Hippo started around this time last year with John D and getting NFL Blitz out. Like we just talked about, they made way too many units and they made a bunch of stools for all the different football teams. Well, whenever they started making all the stools, the only retailer that really bought up all those or some of those teams that didn't sell well was Shop Hippo. So they have a really good relationship with Arcade 1-Up. Shop Hippo kind of buys up a lot of what the other retailers aren't buying, or you know, they'll just kind of push a lot of these products that weren't selling elsewhere. So I think what they've done is they've kind of gained some more ground with Arcade 1-Up, and now they're I guess one of their like exclusive retailers where they can buy this stuff and they can get exclusivity on Time Crisis this round. So they're going to be the exclusive retailer of Time Crisis and the only ones that purchased the 3,000 units that were made. So it is a reputable company. I've not heard anyone getting screwed over by them, but I will tell you, I don't think their support's very great. I don't think they're, you know, up to par as far as like customer support would be with like Walmart or Best Buy. But I think you can get a hold of them. They will fix things for you. Of course, they don't have like a brick and mortar store you can walk into. It's all going to have to be done online or over the phone. So if you're comfortable with those things, you know, handling the business over the phone or online, 100%, then I would say go for it. You know, Shop Hippo is a reputable company. I typically tend to buy things though from like the brick and mortar store where I can, if I have a problem with it, I get it assembled and I have a, you know, something go wrong, I can just put it back in the box, or I can take it back up there the way it is and get my money back immediately. Put it right back on the card. So I'll normally buy from Best Buy. Walmart is one of my best ones. I buy most everything from Walmart. They have the easiest, best return policy out there. Let's see, who else have I bought from? I did buy from VIP Outlet for my AtGames Legends Ultimate, but that was only because I got an incredible deal on that cabinet. If it wasn't incredible, I probably would have never gone through VIP Outlet. I've actually heard some bad things about them lately, so I'd be wary of them. And then who else have I bought from? Oh, I bought from Arcade 1UP Direct one time. I bought the $150 Killer Instinct cabinet, and I only bought it from them because it was $150. I would never go to Arcade 1UP Direct to buy anything at full price or close to full price. I would go through a reputable retailer. So you have your options as far as returning it or exchanging it, things like that. Very difficult to work with people over the phone or where they have to send you shipping labels to return things. Just makes everything more difficult. So let's get back on track here on the 4KP and the AtGames products. So this is the status update. So current status of the 4KP Legends Pinball on Wagner's Tech Talk. I'd gone over a couple updates with you guys last week. We got a couple more pretty interesting ones here I wanted to bring up. So on the 25th, this was just 2 days ago, he said part 2 is now available. So if you guys want to go to his channel, watch the video. I'm going to show you guys a little bit of that, just a couple of clips of that here on the live stream tonight. But you'll be able to click the link in the description to go directly to his YouTube page if you want to see it. And he says, see the video above to get a better look at the new CE 4K UI. That's going to be the new UI system that we're going to see in the menu system when we load it up and when we're selecting the games. The display, the gameplay comparison to the HD ALP, the previous one. And then there's also an unexpected surprise. That's some other thing he's doing that you can kind of follow along, and he's got hints and clues in the videos, and he may be doing some kind of giveaway or something. I'm probably not going to participate in that. And then on 8/27, which that was today, so this is a new status update. I've actually not even read this. I just put it up here on the slide. I'm going to read it for the first time with you guys right now live. But it says it's been a few days since the release of part 2. In that video was the announcement that upon reaching 1,000 likes on that video, that AtGames would provide one Legends Pinball 4KP for giveaway once it's in production. That's huge. That's awesome of them. So they're going to give away one of these. That's very cool. Says likes are well on their way to achieving this goal and have already exceeded part 1. In part 3, we'll be exploring OTG on the ALP 4KP. So we'll be learning about the ability to hook up a PC to this and seeing what that's going to look like. I think that's when the 4K technology is really going to show itself, is when you put a high-end gaming PC and you OTG it to the system, then the 4K graphics are really going to show. So we haven't even gotten to that part yet. And it says, I'll have a new CE 4K build to test on or around Monday, 8/28 to get started. Part 3 may take a bit longer than part 1 or 2 to produce. Just wanted to mention that. I'll keep you updated here with the progress. So maybe next week during the live stream, we still won't have part 3. It sounds like it may take longer. But maybe by next Sunday, we'll have part 3 to look at. But let's look here at a few little clips here I took from his video. So this is the UI system. This is the menu when you load it up. Looks a lot better. It's on that wheel, which is better than just like, you know, the static icons or menu system we had before. Now this is really cool. So what he's doing here, all right, so this here is just the speakers, right? They're going, I think, from 2.5 inches. These are now 3.5 inches. So they're a bigger speaker. They do sound better. He did a test on them. I mean, we can't really get a good idea through the video how well they sound, but if we take his word for it, they say they sound a lot better. There is a whole nother speaker mod that's coming into play with this as well. I'm not going to show you guys that, but if you guys are interested, go watch the video. You basically can put a subwoofer in this thing, and then you can have like 8 speakers in the cabinet, and it's going to follow where the ball on the playfield goes. So if the ball is up in the upper left-hand corner of the screen, you're going to have a speaker in there that's going to activate to make it give you that real feeling of a real pinball table. And wherever that moves, you know, if it moves to the upper right, the sound will go there. Goes to the lower right, the sound will go there. Very cool stuff. That's going to be a mod, though, that'll be additional. It'll be an add-on. And this thing's already coming in at like $1,500. So I'm not even going to be considering purchasing the speaker upgrade right now. But there may be people out there that have the budget for that. And I think it's really cool technology, what they're thinking up here. So I would encourage you to go watch the video if you're interested in, you know, high-end speakers and just giving you an overall better feel for like having a real pinball table. But the way it comes with the 2 3.5-inch speakers, I think will do the job. They're going to be better than what we had before. And then here on this part of the video is a very cool comparison. So it's a comparison of the 1080p Legends pinball, their original one that came out several years ago, to the 4K Ultra HD 4K Legends pinball table. Now, if we look here, right here, it doesn't look that great, right? We're looking at the left. The left almost to me appears a lot brighter. Now, that may just be the camera angle or the way Wagner recorded this, but I'm just not really seeing the difference right here. But I'm glad he did what he did because he zoomed in, and when you zoom in, that's when you see the difference. So now you can see if you look up close, and if you pull up his video and like zoom it in, and you can really see it. Not really doing it justice here in this smaller. Maybe I can do this live. Not very professional to do this live, but for the sake of us being able to see this, now you can kind of see the jagginess, right? In the lower left, where the flippers are, you can see the jagginess on those edges, where on the right, in the 4K, we're not seeing that. So it is much better quality, even with the AtGames tables. So not even using a PC, just using the games that they've made for us, we're noticing a big difference in the 4K screen and technology. Also, he says the ball travels much better. It travels much more naturally in 4K than what it does in 1080p. So it's not just what we're seeing in that pause. You should hopefully see it in the video with the ball movement. It will look more natural and realistic as well. So, and I think a lot of this, you'll have to be in front of it to really gauge and get a good idea of what you're seeing, because the videos don't really do it justice. If you guys are going to be in Cleveland here in a few weeks, we're going to actually be able to play this thing in person, up close. So we'll be able to get a better idea of how great this thing looks. But if we're just taking Wagner's word for it, he's saying it's a huge difference. And then he's showing here a comparison of like 4 different pinball tables all running. He's got some other shots where it's like a side, where he kind of does it at a, he flips it to the side. It shows you the whole table, but it doesn't look very good for like this live stream. So I didn't include those clips for y'all. Let's see what everyone has to say here. And I saw John Phillips has made it. Good to see you, John Phillips. He says, I'm late, checking in before bed, sir. Salute. Good to see you. John, glad you made it. And Carlos just saying hi to John. Jason says those stool blowouts are no joke, especially when you're my age and have to have a colonoscopy. And those stools are not very comfortable. You guys may see one here right behind me here to my right, which would be your left on the screen. But I got a couple of the stools, and they're not very comfortable. I actually have 3 stools. I've got a Galaga, I've got a Pac-Man, and I've got my Killer Instinct that I got for free with KI. I still haven't assembled that one. Atran says, no stepping on Biggie D or anything like that, but looking forward to Phil's walk and talk later tonight. Absolutely. Every morning, you know, I'm actually really good friends with Phil. You know, you meet people online, And some of those people you just connect with, and they're like a friend that would have, if they would have lived next to you growing up, they would have been your best friend. Like I get that feeling with Phil. Like I can talk to him for hours on the phone. He's a really great guy. And I always look forward to his walk and talks on Monday morning. It's the highlight of my Monday for sure. Atrian says, yeah, I put a thrift store subwoofer in my one-up seat mount for my Ridge Racer. Yeah, the subwoofer is really cool. So there is going to be an option to purchase an accessory for this pinball machine, and it's an actual subwoofer that'll go in the cabinet. Very cool stuff. Matt Astra says, I'm going to have to wait till it's on sale or clearance at Sam's or something. No way my wife is going to let me spend over $1,000. Yeah, this is one of those purchases, guys, where I'm just going to have to close my eyes and click the buy button because I really shouldn't be spending this kind of money on something like this, but I just got to do it. I mean, this thing is a one of a kind. There's nothing else out there like this. And really, if you want to get into 4K pinball, it's normally like $3,000–$4,000. So we're actually very lucky that AtGames is going to be a mass producer of something like this because there's really nothing like this out there in this price range. Jason saying the funny thing is that using a PC, the one on the right can be matched at 1080p. Goofyfoot says, I can tell I'm watching on my Apple II monitor. So he can tell by looking through a good monitor the difference. And I could actually tell as well when I bring up Wagner's video on full screen, I can see it. And I don't know if it's going to come through as well on this live stream. So I do encourage you to, if you're interested, go watch it there. I'm just kind of pulling these clips up here for the live stream, just to kind of keep us entertained while we go through the chats and while I discuss this stuff. Jason says, this should have been 1440p, 165 hertz, the anti-aliasing, I think that's how you say it, and the other things that coded are a certain way on the old model that could have been better on the old model. That's not a great comparison. Okay, yeah, so that brings up a good point, Jason, and I'm glad that you had brought that hertz up because I actually put that in the thumbnail. I've actually been kind of concerned about that. Wagner brought up that this 4K screen is only running at 60 hertz. So these screens are 60 hertz screens. I was looking up some 4K televisions earlier today, just kind of research this, because he said the reason they didn't go with 120 hertz is it would have just jumped the price way up, and it just would have been way out of the price range of what AtGames is wanting to sell their products for. So they then decided that the only way that they can do this is to do it with a 60 hertz screen. So I was disappointed to hear that. And I went and looked at 4K TVs, 60 hertz. They're very inexpensive. I mean, you can get like a 42-inch 4K 60 hertz TV for like $300 or $250 even. So they're not very expensive. When you do get into the 120 hertz, they do get a lot more expensive. They're like double the cost. Now that's for TVs. It's not just sourcing a monitor, just to, they're sourcing these on a very large scale, and they're just purchasing the actual screen. They're not purchasing an entire TV. So I don't know if that's a really good comparison, but from what I'm seeing from my research, a 60 hertz 4K TV is about half the price of a 120 hertz 4K TV. So if that translates to them sourcing the parts and it's double the cost, I can see why they chose 60. But we can see, guys, I mean, even at the 60 hertz, from what we're seeing here, it does look promising. It looks like it's going to be good. We're going to be happy with it. Now, I'll see it up close in person in Cleveland, and I'll be able to tell you for sure, how I feel about this thing. But from what I'm seeing through the video, I think it's going to be enough. And I think I'm going to be happy with it. Let's see here. Atran says, I really love the BOE monitor on the Ridge Racer. Beautiful screen. So yeah, Arcade 1UP has dealt with this. They've tried to do cheaper screens in the past with the TN. That was not a good thing, horrible thing that happened. And those cabinet cells suffered. So I hope that with Legends Pinball 4K that the 60 hertz isn't like a make or break or something that, significantly lowers the quality of what we're playing and seeing. But I think it's going to be all right. Atrian says, I've got two A1-up stools, the 2019 Star Wars that matches the cabinets, and the Frogger stool that came with the Frogger Arcade 1-up cabinet, LOL. And let's see if we got any good discussion here on the 4K, because I know some of you guys out there in the chat are like Carlo, Jason, like I know you are like my go-tos when it comes to AtGames. You guys know your stuff, so I always like bringing your comments up because I actually learned some things through these streams from some of the things you guys say. Jason says they could have given you the same price. That's why Buy Stuff Arcades is looking at offering a replacement 1440p monitor for the old model replacement. So there's going to be some options for you guys, it sounds like, through Buy Stuff Arcades if you have the original Legends pinball. You may not have to, go all in and spend the money on this. Andy's Game Room says, I just tried peanut butter and chocolate Cheerios for the first time. Jiggity. I have not tried the peanut butter and chocolate Cheerios. I do like peanut butter cereal, though. Like the Reese's is one of my favorite. I try not to eat it, though, because it's so high in sugar. Jason says 4K 120 is fairly expensive. They needed to do the sweet spot at 1440p. Pinball and 1440p with 165 hertz looks sick. You're probably onto something, Jason. I mean, they may have overreached by trying to go 4K. I mean, it has a nice sound to it, right? It has a really nice ring to it. 4K, I mean, it just hearing that will help the sales of it. And I can see why they did overreach and went 4K, because they really wanted to blow this out of the water and make this like a huge release. Maybe they could have been a little more conservative, gone with the 1440p at 165 hertz. We may have gotten a better experience, but I can see why they went 4K, just because that when you hear that, it makes you even more interested, because it's such a new technology, especially in home arcade. We've never even heard of it. So let's look. Looks like we've kind of talked enough about the 4K, so we'll go ahead and move on. Again, guys, this is going to be kind of like a weekly thing. I'm going to always kind of touch on this as these updates come out. I'm going to kind of learn this product the same time you guys are learning it. And hopefully we're all experts by the time this thing gets released. All right, so next what I want to get into is the Mortal Kombat 2 Classic. I had talked to you guys about this last week, and we had discussed the Classic line of cabinets, and we had discussed the Mortal Kombat 2, and we had saw that it was in store. We had saw that it was online last Sunday. We saw you could purchase it. Buy now, $2.99. I showed you guys the listing for it. Well, I'd come across this Reddit post this week, and it shows now that it's already in store. So if you guys are interested in this less expensive alternative of a $2.99 Mortal Kombat 2 Deluxe, just won't have the riser, the coin door, or the lip marquee, they are in store now. But this kind of got my thinking on, okay, we've got a whole new classic line of arcade 1-up cabinets that are going to be coming. It's not going to just be Mortal Kombat 2. We're going to get others as well. So I wanted to speculate on what I think is going to be the next product we see in the classic line. And this is pretty exciting stuff, guys. This is something I thought up of this week, and I had put it in my notebook. I always kind of like make a notebook of like my thoughts and things throughout the week, so I can not only remember them, but I can prepare for the live stream with that. And I had wrote this down as a thought. And I think what we're going to get for our next classic line are going to be the Pac-Man and the Miss Pac-Man in the classic form factor. So if you guys are a fan of the slanted screen for Pac-Man, or for Galaga, or what's the other one that they did, the Class of 81, I think we're going to get these cabinets in a classic line as well, where they're going to make it shorter, obviously, because it's going to fit into that Walmart packaging and that Walmart box. So it'll be a box similar to this right here. It'll be the same height, but it'll be a Pac-Man version of that. So it'll be the same height as the MK2 Classic, which I didn't bring up the dimensions for us. but maybe I could do that really quick and not waste too much time finding it, because I would like to have the exact inches on that before I tell you. Let's see, here it is. All right, so the MK2 Classic comes in at a total height of 48.5 inches, and then you can add a riser to it, which would then increase it to its normal height. So we're going to get a Pac-Man, possibly a Miss Pac-Man. I don't think we're going to see Class of 81. We've never seen a Class of 81 in Walmart ever. We have seen Miss Pac-Man and we've seen Pac-Man. Those have been a staple at Walmart. So I think we're going to get both of these in a 47.5 inch height version with the ability to use a riser with it. It'll have no lit coin door. It'll have the logos in place of the coin door, and it will still have the semi-transparent marquee, but it will have no lighting behind that marquee. So it will not be lit. However, it'll be very easy to light that. And we can also buy the coin doors aftermarket now. So that will be another upgrade you can do in the future. And if you're okay with the look of the riser and you just can live without the deluxe, that may be an option for you guys coming up. If you have not gotten a slanted screen or a slanted style screen on your Pac-Man yet, you haven't upgraded to the deluxe, you may have an option coming up here very soon to get a $299 classic version. And that will be potentially a buy for me. I like these deals. I like these $299 deals. My Miss Pac-Man, I paid $199 for that. I talked to a manager into giving me this Miss Pac-Man for $199. I'm okay with the riser. This one didn't have the option to upgrade the marquee and make it lit. These new ones will. These new, like we saw with the Street Fighter Yoga Flame, we saw with the Mortal Kombat 2, this one we're looking at here, and I think these new Pac-Man ones are going to give us the option to light the marquee. So these are ones I'm really interested in. I like these like half off or almost half price cabinets where I can do my upgrades later. And I'm not like a person that has to have the no riser look. I'm okay with the risers. I've never been against having a riser. Actually, I kind of like having a little bit wider base at the bottom. I think it makes it a little more stable. And if you guys were watching my video on Thursday, you guys got a pretty good look at the bottom of my cabinets in that video. You guys can see I raise them a little bit higher using a end table from Walmart and 2.5 inch furniture risers under that. And that gives me about 3.5, 4 inches more height on the cabinets. I don't know how well that setup that I do will work with these deluxe cabinets. So I may be right in the market for a classic version of Pac-Man or Miss Pac-Man when these release. And I'm talking like this is coming, right? I'm giving you guys this information as if I have the confidence that this is for sure coming. And I don't. This is all speculation. But it's such good speculation, it makes a lot of sense, right? As I say it and as I'm showing it to you. And I think this is it. I think I'm on to something. I think this is what we're going to see next. And hopefully we'll see pretty soon, hopefully before Christmas, that, you know, this actually happens. Because I would love to get into a slanted screen Pac-Man at $299. I know there's many people out there that would. You guys let me know. What do you think of this? Do you think that this is actually going to happen, or you think that I'm crazy? Jason's saying they said they should do a focus group, but they gave into a buzzword. That group had no idea what 120 hertz or 165 hertz refresh rates were. Such a lost opportunity. Yeah, 60 hertz. I've been hearing a lot of talk about that. People being unhappy with that. That orange circle only happens on this stream. I changed it last week, slightly sharper. The original was still small, and I have a feeling it catched somehow on Biggie D's side. I think it did, Jason. So I use a plugin that goes into Chrome that allows me to bring up your chats on screen. So I think all I need to do is uninstall that plugin, reinstall the plugin, and it should bring your avatar back up. So I'll get that fixed between now and next week. Honey mustard. A-Tran saying, talking about a 72 Chevy. We always got a lot of like just people hanging out, discussing random stuff on the stream. I like to see that. It's, you know, that's the good thing about these streams is it just gives us the opportunity to come together as a community and have fun and discuss things, get to know each other better, and, you know, bring up ideas and questions for each other. So I'm always going to encourage everyone to just discuss whatever you guys want to discuss in these chats. Never hold back. All right, guys, so let's get in. We're at, what are we at? 1 hour and 22 minutes now. So we're right on track to end here in about 1.5 hours. I wanted to get into a couple of closing thoughts with you guys to finish off the stream, and got a couple of good ones. So with all this time crisis going on and all the dissatisfaction with the price and the guns and everything else, the screen height, the screen size, it got me more and more interested in this T2 mod, and they're putting out more and more videos on this thing. It's looking better and better each time that I've seen it. This video kind of showcases you can get this new control deck that they're going to be selling. This is going to be an add-on where it gives you some nice joysticks and buttons there on top of T2. So you're not just playing the shooters, you're using this mod to also play fighting games like Marvel vs. Capcom 2. So you're using that horsepower behind this chipset, or the single board chipset that they're going to be giving us in this package, is capable of playing Marvel vs. Capcom 2. So I think that is really cool. Now, I don't know how much this thing's going to be. This thing could come in at a very high price. So I still don't know yet if I'm going to be interested in this. They still have not come out with any pricing, but everything that I've seen so far I really like. So they're putting out here the steps, or the pedals. And then you got your retro shooter guns. You can buy these for a Pandora's box right now, direct through their website. But this is going to be a package deal where they're utilizing that technology to put out a mod that you'll have everything in one package, where you'll get the guns, you'll get the little computer that has all the ROMs already preloaded on it. And I'm not, okay, you got your sensor bars. I can see they're up there in the upper left, upper right. So you'll get those. And this is Time Crisis running. Now, one thing I did notice in this video is I don't feel like Time Crisis looks as good or is playing as good as what we saw on the arcade one up. So that's always something you're going to have to factor into these ROMs, is they're never going to look, they're never going to play as good typically as the original arcade ROM that like Arcade 1UP is putting out for Time Crisis. You know, Namco worked with Arcade 1UP to port Time Crisis to their cabinet. It's looking and playing better on the Arcade 1UP. So I want to point that out. But it is nice to be able to play the game, even if it's not as great. But it just doesn't look that great to me. And then this is kind of cool next. So the next game they're going to be playing here is Jurassic Park. You know, it could be years before we get a Jurassic Park shooter for Arcade 1UP. So I am really happy to see this. I'm hoping, though, that Arcade 1UP is going to utilize their Raw Thrills relationship and we see a Jurassic Park next year, like a modern Jurassic Park. I know K-Fox speculated on a Sega Jurassic Park coming out, like a late 90s version with Arcade 1UP. I don't see that. I don't see Sega coming to Arcade 1UP to do that. And I don't see Sega making an arcade cabinet either. I think our best bet of getting a Jurassic Park shooter through Arcade 1UP would be through Raw Thrills. And then this next game here is, let's see, what did they show here? I'm not even sure what game this is. Maybe you guys can tell me. Or this may still be Jurassic Park. A different part of the game. That's pretty much it, guys, on that. But it looks like they're coming along with this. It is going to give us an alternative, a different option. You guys are wanting to get your shooting cabinet fix or your shooting arcade fix. You may be able to do that with this T2 mod. So we'll see here over the next few months what happens with my home arcade and my shooting cabinet. Am I going to cave and buy the Time Crisis? I'm definitely not going to do it at $750. Maybe they listen to the community, they get it down to $699, and maybe I pull the trigger then. Or maybe I am very happy with the price and the value of what we're getting through Buy Stuff Store, and I run out and I go get a $300 T2 at Best Buy. And I buy this setup through Buy Stuff, and I got a great setup with this. So we'll see what happens, but we're going to have options. Options are always a good thing. Let's see here. Jason says that mod does tempt me to get the T2. Carlo says Buy Stuff rocks. This is a sweet looking mod. Steven's here. He says we need new games, not more Pac-Man. Absolutely. The reason I brought up those Pac-Man cabinets for the Classic is that's just going to fit the bill for the Walmart cabinets on what they buy and what they want. And that's just some speculation on that. But yeah, I agree with you 100%. No more Pac-Man. I'm tired of Pac-Man. Bring us what we want. Bring us some more shooting games. Bring us some racers. Bring us more modern arcade games too. I would like to see them not bring the cheap hardware. Get us some more advanced, more modern hardware like what AtGames is doing with the 4KP. Goofyfoot saying Glenn's deck will be better. So he's saying Glenn's deck is better than what Buy Stuff is going to be selling for the T2, it sounds like. And Jason says so much nicer without the white border for sure. Yeah, so we're not getting, good point, Jason. You're killing it with the comments tonight. You're bringing up a really good point here. No white border. And it gives us another inch because I think we lose 1 inch of screen with the white border. So it's actually a 16-inch screen on Time Crisis. And when it's already as small as 17 inches, you just don't want to lose any screen at all. Endangered Dog is here. He says, sup, Biggie? Good to see you. Glad you made it. Cowboy hat, 2 thumbs up, 2 checkered flags. Atran says, yeah, that's why I want to get a Guns for IR for my Simpsons to TMNT PC modded custom 4-player cabinet. No white border, LOL. And Carlos says, I want an ALP 4K backbox shooter mod. He also said a Buy Stuff said something about a Gamer Pro stand gun holster mod, Biggie D. Okay, very cool. And Atran, Sega Model 1 through 3 only run pretty good on a decent built PC, which Jurassic Park and other Sega games run on. So all good information there, guys, and good comments. Now, the next closing thought I'm going to bring up is PAX West. So PAX West is coming up this weekend, Labor Day weekend, and it'll run Friday, September 1st through Monday, September 4th. So 4 days in PAX West at Seattle Convention Center. The reason I'm bringing this up is we learned from Travis MCP on the Corner Cage stream that Arcade 1UP will be at PAX West this weekend. And they're going to be showing off the Atari 50th. So if you guys are interested in the Atari 50th cabinet, deluxe arcade cabinet, they're going to be showing it off for the very first time this coming weekend at PAX West. Now, if you guys watch my video this week or you've heard me talk about this cabinet, I am not happy with the way this thing looks. I think it looks horrible. I'm not going to harp anymore on how bad this thing looks because I think I've already gotten my point across on that. And I think there's a lot of people in the community that feel the same way about that. But I am interested to see the menu system, how the games are playing, how these, what games we're getting, because we're getting 50 2600 games. What 50 games are we getting? How are those games going to play? How are they going to look? What are the leaderboards going to look like? All that stuff. So I'm still interested in seeing what we're getting with this. And we'll see it for the very first time starting on Friday. And it sounds like Travis will be there. If you guys watched The Garage Gamer, I saw that he's going to be there as well. So maybe he'll get us some content on this. But look for that coming up this next weekend for Labor Day. Also, I saw that there are some shows next weekend that are going to be taking the weekend off. Super Game Room Dudes, for instance, will not be streaming on Friday. I'm going to be streaming. It's going to be a regular schedule for me here. So definitely tune in to Biggie D's Arcade over the Labor Day weekend. I'll probably be working on some videos, maybe do some more gameplay live streaming like I did this last Saturday, yesterday. And I'll be doing another show, another live stream show like I do every Sunday, even though it's Labor Day weekend. And we'll have plenty to discuss because we'll be getting a lot out of PAX West. Also, guys, Cleveland is coming up. We're just a few weeks removed now from this starting. So it's coming very soon, and it's coming fast. So if you guys are interested and you're still, delaying your decision on whether or not you're going to go, it's coming up. I just want to remind you guys, encourage you guys to come out if you can make it, because I'll be there. I know there's going to be like 40 or 50 other content creators in home arcade that are going to be there, as well as viewers, fans, enthusiasts of home arcade are going to be there. It's just going to be one big party for us to have a good time, talk home arcade, play home arcades, go to real arcades, and just get together, have fun, go out to eat, get some beers. It's just going to be a great time. I'm really looking forward to this event. And I think everyone else is that's going. And then even the people that can't make it, you guys are going to have a really good time just on YouTube watching, because there's going to be a lot of content coming out of there. Like I said, I'm going to be focused on trying to get those DJI mics, and that way I can do interviews with everyone and bring you guys some really solid, fun, engaging, and just and fun content to watch, and hopefully stuff where you guys can learn from some of the people I'll be talking to, and hopefully I can interview. We saw that Michael Svabek from iArcade is working for AtGames now, and he is going to be in Cleveland. I'm hoping to get an interview with Michael. I would love to pick his brain on what's going on with AtGames and get that information out to you guys. So really appreciate everyone who's joined tonight, who's stuck for the whole live stream, the whole hour and a half, even though it's getting late on the East Coast for you guys. Appreciate you guys joining. I hope you guys have enjoyed this stream and found it fun, and the conversation we've had was something that you got something out of. So let's bring up here just a few more comments before I close out the stream. Jason said, so many great conversations in the Pacific Northwest. Oh, not conversations, conventions in the Pacific Northwest, but I can't travel 3,000 miles from my kids right now. I don't know if anyone's going to travel 3,000 miles for a convention unless they're just got to be there, or they're working there, or they've got a reason they have to be there. That's a long travel, 3,000 miles. I'm not going to Seattle. I'll tell you that. Atran says, so if Arcade 1UP did end up making Star Wars Trilogy, Jurassic Park, Crazy Taxi, they would be quite expensive, as the games require a lot of horsepower to run them. So if you watch my Raw Thrills video, Atran, I got into some really heavy discussion on their Raw Thrills partnership and my belief and speculation on what's going to come next year. I think most of the cabinets we're going to get next year are going to be two things. It's going to be the year of XLs. We've been hearing from Travis. We're going to get a lot of re-releases, but they're going to be in the XL format. So that's really good news, right? If they're going to re-release something, at least give us something new. Give us something different. And they can do that with an XL. Now, the other cabinets, new product releases that we've never seen before next year, are going to mostly be Raw Thrills titles. So I was thinking maybe we get like a Walking Dead, a Jurassic Park. There's a ton, like the Nerf brand, if you're trying to do like a family-friendly game for like a younger audience, they're going to have a Nerf brand arcade, I think. So there's a lot of really cool stuff coming next year, and those Raw Thrills games, those more modern arcade games, are going to require a chipset on par with what AtGames is doing with this 4K. So I think what we're going to see from Arcade 1UP next year is a newly sourced chipset. We've heard from Travis MCP that they've already been working on this. And Time Crisis, this is really good information for you guys. Time Crisis was the last cabinet that Arcade 1UP is going to make with the old PCB. So that underpowered PCB we have in most of our arcades, that's the end of it after Time Crisis. So anything new, so starting now, is going to use a new chipset, which is going to be hopefully, like I said, on par with the 4K, so we can run some of this, some of these Raw Thrills titles and these newer arcade games. That's my thought and my speculation on next year. A lot of these thoughts and speculation I give you are pretty close or pretty on spot with what actually happens. Like I hit the mark on a lot of this stuff. Like I told you guys, Time Crisis was going to release in October. what's happening. It's releasing in October. I told you guys that months ago. And I told you guys, I even made a graphic of a calendar, and I put it on the graphic, Time Crisis October. So I was 100% locked in on that speculation, and it came true. So I gave you guys some more speculation tonight. Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, classic line of cabinets. That's probably going to happen. Raw Thrills next year. That's probably going to happen. So we'll see. And you guys, you hold me to it. If I'm wrong on something, you guys tell me when I'm wrong, because that'll make me better at what I'm doing. But what I'm finding is the speculation I'm giving you guys is spot on. It's accurate. It's relevant, good information that I'm giving you guys. And this isn't because, you know, Michael B or B Kongs or these guys that have some inside info are telling me things. This is speculation I've developed just from my own thoughts and my own research. And I do it every day. Every day I focus on Arcade 1-Up, or I focus on AtGames. What new can I learn about these companies so I can present that to you guys on streams like this? And over time, day after day, week after week, month after month, I don't realize how much information I'm giving you guys. But it's really, you know, I look back and it's all really close or accurate, or actually happens exactly the way I say it does. Galaga Guy 88 says, are you going to Cleveland Gaming Classic? Absolutely, Galaga Guy. I will be there. I arrive on Friday. So that'll be what Friday is that? September 22nd? Yeah, September 22nd, I'll be arriving in Cleveland. And I think I arrive around 6 o'clock. But I'll be there until Monday at like 8 o'clock at night. So I'll be there for almost 4 solid days. Carlos saying it's going to be a Ron Burgundy throwdown. I can't wait. Laughing out loud. Andy saying always fun, Biggie. Have a great week. You guys too. You guys have a great week. Good start to Monday. Definitely like the video if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And I'll see everyone in the next one. Bye-bye.